Hey all, Ron here from Military Images Magazine with a new episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail. You know, history remembers President Abraham Lincoln and the months leading up to the election of 1864 for bad political news, a war weary citizenry, draft riots, and resistance dating back the better part of a year, the Copperhead Movement, military stalemate along the lines of Petersburg and Richmond and before Atlanta, and the blind memorandum written by Lincoln at perhaps his lowest ebb when his chances of a second term appeared impossible and he was looking to make a smooth transition should George B. McClellan become the 17th president of the United States, which, of course, in Lincoln's mind meant peace negotiations that would end in a sovereign Confederate States of America. One document that is less remembered, but very much a part of the history of the campaign of 1864, is pictured here. It's known as the Pomeroy Circular. This particular copy is only one of two that's known to exist. And it happens to also be one of 140 lots offered in the upcoming auction titled Lincoln's Legacy Historic Americana from the Life of Abraham Lincoln, which is going to be held live on May 21st, 2025 by Freeman's Hindman Auctions. This secret political circular dated February 1864, is signed by the man pictured here. Matter of fact, it's the reason that the document takes its name. Kansas Senator Samuel Clarke Pomeroy. His life dates 1816 to 1891. He was a Massachusetts born Republican who served as mayor of Atchison, Kansas in the late 1850s. During the war, Pomeroy, a loyal party man, believed, like many, including Lincoln, that the incumbent's chances were not very good for reelection. Pomeroy, as chairman of the National Executive Committee of the party, headed up a movement to replace Lincoln with his own Secretary of the Treasury, Salmon P. Chase. Though Chase had been the Republican nomination to Lincoln, he lost it to Lincoln 4 years earlier. Now Chase's star was on the rise. I want to read the circular to you, which reveals 5 serious criticisms aimed at Lincoln. So here is the document in full. Sir, the movements recently made throughout the country to secure the renomination of President Lincoln render necessary some counter action on the part of those unconditional friends of the Union who differ from the policy of his administration. So long as no efforts were made to forestall the political action of the people, it was both wise and patriotic for all true friends of the government to devote their influence to the suppression of the rebellion. But when it becomes evident that the party machinery and official influence are being used to secure the perpetuation of the present administration, those who conscientiously believe that the interest of the country and of freedom demand a change in favor of vigor and purity and nationality have no choice but to appeal at once to the people before it shall be too late to secure a fair discussion of principles. Those in behalf of whom this communication is made have thoughtfully surveyed the political field and have arrived at the following conclusions. One, that even were the reelection of Mr. Lincoln desirable, it is practically impossible against the union of influences which will oppose him. Second, that should he be reelected, his manifest tendency towards compromises and temporary expedients of policy will become stronger during a second term than it has been in the first, and the cause of human liberty and the dignity and honor of the nation suffer proportionately, while the war may continue to languish during his whole administration, till the public debt shall become a burden too great to be borne. Third, that the patronage of the government through the necessities of war has been so rapidly increased and to such an enormous extent and so loosely placed as to render the application of the one term principle, term limitations, absolutely essential to the certain safety of our Republican institutions. Fourth, that we find united in the Honorable Salmon P. Chase more of the qualities needed in a president during the next 4 years than are combined in any other available candidate. His record clear and unimpeachable, showing him to be a statesman of rare ability and an administrator of the very highest order, while his private character furnishes the surest obtainable guarantee of economy and purity in the management of public affairs. That the discussion of the presidential question, already commenced by the friends of Mr. Lincoln, has developed a popularity and strength in Mr. Chase, unexpected even to his warmest admirers. And while we are aware that the strength is at present unorganized and in no condition to manifest its real magnitude, we are satisfied that if only it only needs systematic and faithful effort to develop it to an extent sufficient to overcome all opposing obstacles. The document finishes. For these reasons, the friends of Mr. Chase have determined on measures which shall present his claims fairly and at once to the country. A central organization has been effected, which already has its connections in all the states, and the object of which is to enable his friends everywhere most effectually to promote his elevation to the presidency. We wish the hearty cooperation of all those in favor of this speedy restoration of the Union upon the basis of universal freedom and who desire an administration of the government during this first period of its new life, which shall, to the fullest extent, develop the capacity of free institutions, enlarge the resources of the country, diminish the burdens of taxation, elevate the standard of public and private morality, vindicate the honor of the republic before the world, and in all things make our American nationality the fairest example for imitation which human progress has ever achieved. If these objects meet your approval, you can render efficient aid by exerting yourself at once to organize your section of the country and by corresponding with the chairman of the National Executive Committee, Pomeroy, for the purpose either of receiving or imparting information. Very respectfully, S.C. Pomeroy, Chairman, National Executive Committee. So that's the document, and it went public days later in the New York Times and a host of other newspapers, absolutely igniting a political firestorm. Although Chase denied prior knowledge of the document I just read to you, many in the cabinet were highly skeptical. Secretary of the Interior John P. Usher condemned the circular as indecent and foresaw a cabinet rupture. Lincoln, always measured and reading the room, assured Chase of his continued role, but quietly acknowledged knowing about Pomeroy's activities. In March of 1864, not long after the circular hit the media, in a speech before the Senate, Pomeroy promoted a new political party that sought to, one, immediately suppress the rebellion, two, offer a constitutional amendment prohibiting slavery, three, maintaining the Monroe Doctrine, four, focusing on the economy, five, confiscating the property of rebel leaders, six, offering a sound system of national currency, seven, establishing a hierarchy in which the states are clearly subordinate to the federal government, eight, have but one term for president, nine, protections of liberties of the speech and press, 10, a more progressive system of immigration, and last but not least, extending the transcontinental railway system and infrastructure, if you will. The Pomeroy Circular remains a notable episode in Civil War era politics, It reflects deep divisions in the Republican Party and the perilous path to Lincoln's nomination, his renomination. I've included links below to a wonderful summary of the Pomeroy circular that appeared in the May 15th, 1939 issue of the Lincoln Lore newsletter. I've also included a link to the Freeman's Hindman Auction. So thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail.